mind to learn it, or I would. I'm not intelligent enough to be bilingual, I assure you. Now you guys hang tight around me and take a look right up here where my light's shining. This is part of the original entrance I told you I'd show you. Now minus these wires and cables, the 6 and 8-year-olds actually climbed through here. Now it was about this size from up at the top of those steps we were speaking to right down here around this turn. So like I said, we had no choice but to expand to accommodate groups coming through. However, we followed the path that Mother Nature provided for us. We just expanded it to allow groups room. Now there's a little puddle of mud right here, so be real careful. And you'll see me meandering back and forth across the walkways, and I assure you I've not been drinking. But just follow me as I do that, and we're avoiding the steepest parts, okay? Whoa. Yeah, you just wait. You hadn't seen nothing. You just wait. Now in 1994, we had the largest flood we know of since we've been coming down here. The water reached the 3rd step from the top right here. Remember, from this landing, it is 80 feet to the water below. It's about 60 or 65 meters. Okay, so how many meters would that be? 8 meters, 9 meters? How many?
At least 20.
20? How many meters are in a yard?
3 feet.
3 feet? Okay.
I'm sorry, 3 feet is per yard. A yard is 1 meter. Okay?
A yard is 1 meter, so it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Okay, so 80 divided by 3 is 25, 22, 22 and a half, something like that. Okay, so 20-something meters down, so a long ways. We certainly don't want to fall down there. However, it took just a few days to flood the cave to this point, and about that same amount of time for the water to recede. But there was so much sediment brought in that on some sections of our wall, it is enough to demand caution. So pay attention to where you're heading your feet on. Hey, my friend, and this is the first step. Yeah, hold on.
I've been in the caves maybe 10 years ago. I've been in the caves 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But I was climbing.
Okay, really? So you were spelunking at the time?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That really is awesome. Where were the caves that you visited? Where were they?
In Russia.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's the way you do. That's awesome.
It's like
that's
100 feet downstairs.
If I ever had a chance to go to Russia, do you recommend me going? I mean, I wouldn't.
Where we're from?
Yeah,
we're from Siberia.
It's cold now.
Oh, really? I saw Bear Grylls on there in Siberia trying to survive.
Brown bear.
Yeah, that's right. Now take a look right here. You see this layer of limestone. Now typically the closer to the surface you get, the younger the rocks are, but that's not the case right here. This layer was laid down parallel many millions of years ago when the mountains got pushed up and pushed these layers up. So that high point is the same age as this right here, which is just simply because the layers got pushed up by plate tectonics. Now that's not the layer of limestone the little boys use, but that is the idea. And I'll show you underneath what they use. I want to live here. I know. My wife won't let me. I've already tried, and she won't let me live down here. Last time I brought my daughter in, she found a bat, and she goes, "Mom said we could have it." And I was like, "No, she did not say we could take a bat home. Give me a break. She'd kill me if I took a bat home." Or actually, hang on. Let me get up here.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Только у меня вспышки нету. Надо вспышку. Да?
It's actually used. Now they initiated their descent on the other side right here, and I'll show you from over there.
Going down from this.
From the other side of this land bridge, come down and then came down this right here. So they used the cedar tree to climb down here, and then they used the layers of limestone itself to climb down. There's a little gap they would have had to have dealt with, but another section of the cedar tree would have done that. I know it's incredibly retarded. They didn't just do this once or twice. They did this year after year after year. It really is amazing.
Oh.
But yes, there was when the water came in, it's not
Go on, huh?
but everything you see is the way Mother Nature provided for us. Lots of walkways, canals, and lighting.
No.
But everything else is Mother Nature. We didn't expand any of the walls or raise the ceiling. Now look way up high where my light's shining. This is where the little boys started climbing down the cliff. They used to section the cedar tree, hung it off the cliff, set it down on this layer of limestone, lean it back against the cliff face, and climb down like a ladder. They did the same thing from this layer to here, and the same thing here. Then they used the shelf of limestone itself to climb down the rest of the cliff. There's that gap they would have had to have dealt with, then backed up and my light on the side. Now this is a stalactite. On the floor below it is a stalagmite, as well as these pretty little white fellas here. Now an easy way to keep your hands straight, if you don't already know. Stalactites go from the ceiling down towards the floor. Now to keep them falling, a stalactite holds on tight to the ceiling, therefore that's where it grows from. Now stalagmites go from the floor. They would love to go enough to touch the ceiling. But this is a stalagmite, might grow tall enough. So mites go from the ceiling, mites go types of formations right there. The left side, they create columns, one of which is right here. Then you can see all these little icicle little formations. Those are actually very specific types of stalactites. They're called capillaries. They're so strong. Now, if you were to climb up there and remove one, which you obviously do frown upon that, I'd be really impressed if you could get up there before me realizing what you were doing. However, if you were to bring one down, they are hollow in the center, like the nickname Soda Straw suggests. You could actually drink soda through them, just like a straw. Now, not too far down the street from here, I'll show you something that will be right over top of the walkway, and you'll all get to see detail like that. Now, if you got this thing up in this area here, kind of crowd Now this formation right here is an example of the largest and the oldest site down here. You're more than welcome to touch. It's called flowstone. However, this is not the largest, nor the oldest, not by a long shot. I'm going to show you guys some monster formations on the floor today. Now the name flowstone is kind of accurate, but at the same time it's kind of misleading as well. It certainly does look like flowing stone, and we cannot contest that. But it's not made of stone. It's made of a mineral called calcium carbonate. It's called calcite for short. It's custom on the line, it's not above. Now there's a little process there, and later on, if you remind me, I'll go into it in about 2 minutes to talk about it though. Yes, cubic inch in a century. So if you can take a block of calcite that's an inch on all sides, and spread that out like butter on toast or peanut butter over bread, that is how much or how little these can accumulate in 100 years. Now like I said, there could be variables that would mean that they might accumulate much slower or much faster. However, on average, that's about it. Now, we allow people to touch these three wet formations right through here. It's something that we must allow to happen. We get so many school kids, if I didn't let that into these friends, then they would touch everything. The calcium carbonate is only known to accumulate on 3 substances. One is limestone, the other is more calcium carbonate. So if we touch the wet formation, salts and oils on our skin will be deposited on the formation when we put our hands. Calcite will not accumulate on salt. Now we get numerous animals. We get spitting cobras, crocodiles, grizzlies. No, wouldn't that be something? No, we don't. Just seeing who is listening. We get 2 types of bats. One is called the pygmy bat, the other is called the Indiana brown bat. We get crawdads or crayfish, whatever you like to call them. And we have no breeding population of fish down here. Now I've been told they may occasionally be washed in during floods and storms, but I myself have never seen a single fish. Now we also have a higher likelihood for slipping and falling.
Путин, да? Извиняюсь за выражение. Зелень.
Растение, я бы сказала, да.
Это у них бесплатные плантации марихуаны здесь.
Now when you guys get to the top of these steps, I need everyone to go down on the right side, following me. Now the reason for this is for these steps to make the turn. The inside has to be smaller than the outside, or it just simply wouldn't be a turn. So there's less surface area to put your foot on, and again, a higher likelihood for slipping and falling. That's fun. Isn't that awesome? Well, that's amazing. But see, none of our lights that are grow lights. These are just light bulbs like in your living room at your house that you can read books to. Someday we'll do Siberia without 17 below zero or Kelvin or whatever. I mean, it's really warm. It's 52 degrees Celsius. How cold? Where does it go? Okay, it comes back out as a spring on the surface called Dunn Spring. D-U-N-N. Chances are you all drove on the top of the body and water that comes out of the cave. It's called Short Creek. So when you guys leave the parking lot today, you turn right to leave that way. Look at the little signs as you cross the little tiny bridges. Chances are you see some of the signs that say Short Creek, and that's the water coming from this way. Yes, it's still water, exactly. Very pure. Now, as a matter of fact, right now, like 2 days ago, closed down, we didn't allow anyone to come through because it was flooded out. There were sections of the walkways that were completely underwater. I've never seen that much water down here. However, there's so much sediment right in it. As you can see, the water's not ultra clear like it normally is. So we frown upon drinking now, but I will tell you, flowstone. Now, I've been told that continues around out of sight another 60 to 80 feet. But we are not going to include in our measurements of this formation what we cannot see or know is there with our eyes. Well, now high point. This is like a big giant waterfall made of calcium carbonate. Looks like it stops here, but it does continue onto the floor somewhat. But we are going to make our measurements from this place here to the highest point we can see. This formation is called Flowstone Falls, and it is 80 feet tall, or 22 meters, something like that. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, so 22 meters. 30 to 35 feet divided by 3, so 11 and a half or 12 meters at its widest, and anywhere from 4 to 8 feet thick, so 1.2 to 2 meters thick, something like that. So at the accumulation rate of about a year, you guys squeeze over your really quick. You can see river rocks, especially with calcium carbonate. Now, like I said, this is the sticky stuff, so those look, they got them scratched in there. What happened is when the floor of the cave was higher, so was the creek. The creek was actually at this level. Same type of rocks you see right there. So when the calcite-laden water was coming in from above, once again, same thing down there. It could only go so far down before it mixed in with the creek and was carried downstream. So by the time the floor of the cave started receding and so did the water, it exposed the tops of these rocks to calcite. And so it just trapped them and left them above the water level like you see today. You can see all kinds of rocks in here. Follow my light. You guys squeeze up under here and get here with me real quick while I got these light sources, okay? Now these are those broken capillaries or soda straws I told you I'd show you. And squeeze underneath, feel free to get as close as you like. They're just wet, so we just don't want to touch them, but you can get as close as you like. Now these were broken by the little boys that came down and played in the 30s and the early 40s. They didn't know any better, and they always hated having done that once they realized how detrimental that was. But you don't need me to tell you, you can't change what happened yesterday, and those boys were no exception to that rule either. However, I was told before these were broken, some of them could almost touch the floor. So it's a shame to think of the time in history destroyed by a couple swings of a stick or kicks of feet, but at the same time it's neat because you can see the inside. But you can look closely and see that they are hollow in the center, just like I told you they would be. Now for these to form hollow centers, the water has to be being pressed through the rock itself. It cannot be coming down and running down the low points and dripping. That will form solid structures like you see over here. So the water has to be being pressed through the rock due to the weight of the water column and the type of rock, how porous it will be. So if you were to take a little tiny camera and feed it up through those, you'd actually, sorry my friend, you'd make contact with the rock itself. So say that drop of water laden with calcite gets pressed through. That drop will sit there, a ring of calcium carbonate will harden around that drop of water. Consecutive drops of water make consecutive rings, building them larger and larger, all the while maintaining that hollow center like that. Now these were broken sometime in the 30s, maybe early 40s at the latest. And you can see how little accumulation are. Some, none at all. So at least that we can see. So like I said, there can be a lot of variables as far as an individual goes that would dictate whether or not they can accumulate that fast or much, much slower. Really impressive, is it not? Calcium carbonate are this white color. Even this fella right here is white. The reason it's not on the surface to our eyes is because it's been stained. When this area was logged 100 some odd years ago, it was literally clear cut. There was nothing there to resist the clay on the land above that's loaded with iron from becoming part of the runoff, entering the cave with the water accumulating on the majority of the formations and altering their color. All the formations are naturally this light color like that. How amazing would that be if all these formations down here were like 14 wide and everything? Wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah. Now you guys look down in the water, right there. You can see that bubbling up. That's actually not bubbles. So that's water. That's one of our springs. Now, I've been told when our water's at the lowest of the low, which is typically about mid-July, we still get over 1.3 million gallons of water through here every day. That's when our water's at the lowest of the low. And I'd say we're 4 to 5 or 6 times that right now. So we've got a lot of water going through here. Now, be real careful going underneath this slope over, okay? This is called the balancing boulder. On the right side, about 2.5 meter rock, hold this up. But on the left side, about 9, 10, maybe 11 inches of rock, hold this up. It is only touching right here and right here. Now when you go underneath it, don't touch it, hold your breath. I'm just kidding. It's really, really stout. We have to climb across it and change light bulbs out, but you don't want to hit your head on it. But come underneath and look right here. You can see how little
Что пойдет? Да.
this side is incredible.
Huh?
Yeah, this side here, that's it. Just the highest peaks were actually above the water. And you can see behind you all that fresh sediment.
Как глубоко, да?
This was brought in 2 days ago with floodwaters. So that's how much water was down here. Now be careful and don't hit your head on these rocks for the light. You can touch them. So we get this is no water shining down the bottom. This feels a river rock, so round and smooth, just like being in the body of flowing water. So those got rounded up by the water flowing past them. These are some of our youngest formations. You know you can build houses on these and small places, caves. Mother Nature seen water coming down that like 4 times, and that's it. And it comes in, oh, I'm sorry, from the other side of where my light is, and then it spills down here, and then it spills out on the other side as well. Now squeeze up there and look at this. Now you see how this is a big calcium carbonate formation. That's clay from flooding. So there's actually a formation under that debris. But you can see right here, this lip right here. Same thing. When the floor of the cave was higher, so is the creek.